Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. And this morning, we're starting a new chapter. It's Canto 2. We're still in Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation. And the chapter is entitled The Lord in the Heart, which means Paramatma. So, Canto 2, Chapter 2, and Text 1. And I'm filling in this morning for His Grace Balabhadra Prabhu, who is a little bit challenged now physically. So, without further ado, we'll start the class now. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivadadadi Yashodanandana Vajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayaratha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Astotara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Astotara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai Nama Charya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय सामवेद भक्त बिंद की जय Itai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Nityanamani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Sutapanasti Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Narayana Namaste Narunche Vam Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Vajirayat Nasta Prayeshwa Bhatristu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavatu Tamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, The Lord in the Heart, Text 1. Shri Sukha Vacha Evam Puradharanayatmayoni Nastam Smitim Pratyavarudya Tustat Tata Sasajedamamoga Drishti Yatapya Yat Pragyavasaya Buddhi Sukhovata Evam Puradharanayatmayoni Nashtam Smritim Pratyavarudya Tushtat Tata Sasajeda Mamoga Drishti Yatapya Yat Pragyavasaya Bodhi Sukhovata Evam Puradharanayatmayoni Nashtam Smritim Pratyavarudya Tushtat Tata Sasajeda Mamoga Drishti Yatapya Yat Pragyavasaya Bodhi. Hare Krishna. Unmute yourself.
Sri
Go ahead.
Vacha Evam Pura Dharana Yatmayoner Nastam Smritim Pratyavarudya Tustat Tata Sastar Jedamapmoga Drishtir Yatha Pyayat Pragvaya Vyavasaya Buddhi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else like to try?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Sri
Krishna.
Suka Uvacha Evam Pura Dharanayatmayodir Nashtam Smritim Patyavarudhya Tushtat Tatha Sasarje Damamogha Drishtir Yatha Piyat Pragavasaya Buddhihi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
श्रीशुक उवाच एवं पुरा धारणयात्मा योनिर्नष्टां स्मृतिं प्रत्यवरुध्य तुष्टात् तथा ससर्जेदम् अमोघदृष्टिर्यथाप्यायात् प्राग्व्यवसाय बुद्धि.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right, so we'll do word for word now. Sri Sukha Vacha, Sri Shukadev Goswami said, Evam, just in the same way, Pura, prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Dharanaya, by such a conception, Atmayoni of Brahmaji, Nashtam, lost, Smritim, remembrance, Pratyabharudya, by regaining consciousness, Tushtad, because of appeasing the Lord, Tata, thereafter, Sasaja, created, Idam, this material world, Amoga Drishti, one who has attained clear vision, Yata, as, Apyayat, created, Prag, as formerly, Vyavasayam, as attained, Buddhi, intelligence. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, formerly, prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma, by meditating on the Virat Rupa, regained his lost consciousness by appeasing the Lord. Thus, he was able to rebuild the creation as it was before. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The example cited herein of Sri Brahmaji is one of forgetfulness. Brahmaji is the incarnation of one of the mundane attributes of the Lord. Being the incarnation of the passion mode of material nature, he is empowered by the Lord to generate the beautiful material manifestation. Yet, due to his being one of the numerous living entities, he is apt to forget the art of his creative energy. This forgetfulness of a living being, beginning from Brahma down to the lowest insignificant ant, is a tendency which can be counteracted by meditation on the Virat Rupa of the Lord. This chance is available in the human form of life. And if a human being follows the instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam and begins to meditate on the Virat Rupa, then revival of his pure consciousness and counteraction of the tendency to forget his eternal relationship with the Lord can follow simultaneously. As soon as this forgetfulness is removed, the Vyavasaya Buddhi, as mentioned here and in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 41, follows at once. This ascertained knowledge of the living being leads to loving service to the Lord, which the living being requires. The kingdom of God is unlimited. Therefore, the number of assisting hands of the Lord is also unlimited. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, and text 14 asserts that the Lord has his hands, legs, eyes, and mouth in every nook and corner of this creation. This means that the expansions of the differentiated parts and parcels called jivas or living entities are assisting hands of the Lord, and all of them are meant for rendering a particular pattern of service to the Lord. The conditioned soul, even in the position of a Brahma, forgets this by the influence of the illusory material energy generated out of false egoism. One can counteract such false egoism by invoking God consciousness. Liberation means Liberation means getting out of the slumber of forgetfulness and becoming situated in the real loving service of the Lord, as exemplified in the case of Brahma. The service of Brahma is a sample of service in liberation, distinguished from the so-called altruistic services full of mistakes and forgetfulness. Liberation is never inaction, but service without human mistakes. Oma Genati Mirandasya, Gyana Gena Shalakaya, Chakshu Umilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yuna Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Scha. Sri Rupa Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tansajivam Tadvitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lita Sri Shaka Vitam Scha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshitayane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Haribo. The translation, English translation of this first text, Canto 2, Chapter 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Shukadev Goswami said, formerly, prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma, by meditating on the Virat Rupa, regained his lost consciousness by appeasing the Lord. Thus, he was able to rebuild the creation as it was before. Hare Krishna. So clearly, Sukadeva Goswami is explaining to Maharaj Pariksit about what Lord Brahma went through. Lord Brahma is the second creator. The first one is Mahavishnu, and the universes come from his pores. Now, when he expands to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, then Lord Brahma is born. And through the help of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Lord Brahma goes through meditation, which is also mentioned here. And from there, he's able to create, because through the meditation, the Lord helps him on how to create the varieties within the universe that Lord Brahma is given charge of. Every universe from the Lord's pores, Mahavishnu's pores, has one Lord Brahma. So there are as many Lord Brahmas as there are universes in the material world. Our Lord Brahma is 4-headed. There are Lord Brahmas that are 8-headed, 16-headed, 32-headed, and some thousands of heads. And they control universes even bigger than this one. This one that we're in is one of the smaller universes, and the planet we're on is also one of the smaller planets in this small universe. And we are definitely very, very, very insignificant in size. If you go up an airplane 5 miles up in the air and you look down, you don't even see human beings, even though they're there. In a plain place where clouds are not covering, you can see all the way down. You see the land just like you will see on a map. That's about all you see. Everything is like a matchbox, even the big buildings. You can't see people at all. So we are very tiny. But Lord Brahma, we are fortunate in this particular planet. The Lord Brahma is very much connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And our Lord Brahma has received the boon that when he leaves his body, he's going back to the spiritual world. Therefore, he's very much focused on Krishna. And even the Sampradaya our spiritual school is connected to him, the one that we're in now. Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. Our parampara is from Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. And the important thing also is that the Lord himself revealed the scriptures to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma taught his son Narada. And Narada taught Vyas, and through Vyas, who is the father of Shukadeva Goswami got to know about this, especially Srimad Bhagavatam. And he explained to Maharaj Pariksit. And here we are. It was recorded. When we say here we are, meaning that now we get to hear what goes on. There is an interesting connection. Srimad Bhagavatam leaves no stone unturned. So sometimes some things affect us directly and sometimes indirectly. We are not creators, not like the way Lord Brahma is. We make very, very little things in where we are, small inventions. But Lord Brahma is the one that creates the varieties of planets and what's in the planets and the living entities. All of it comes through Lord Brahma. But Lord Brahma goes to bed at night, his night. The period of that sleep is 12 hours. The dark time is 12 hours. The daylight is 12 hours. So it's 24 hours. Just like we have 24 hours in one day, according to our solar system. The sun being present during the daytime, and then it would slowly leave horizon, and then darkness comes because it's somewhere else shining on another part of the planet. And that they call that their daytime. So that's the way it is, by the movement of the sun. Now, the Lord Brahma, he goes, so his 12 hours during the day and 12 hours at night, each one is 4,320,000,000 years according to the way we count time. Time is very relative, but that's 12 hours for him. Now, when he goes to sleep, the creation is there when he's awake, but when he sleeps, there is part annihilation, destruction. All the lower planets are gone, and the living entities then will have to stay in the body of Lord Vishnu for a short while, not Mahavishnu, this time Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. The planets are also destroyed up to Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Brahmaloka. Those don't get destroyed. The Lord Brahma is in the meantime sleeping. And as we mentioned the other day, from the Shastra indicates that he sleeps in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. When he wakes up, most of the universe is gone, it's annihilated. Only 4 planetary systems remain. He is the one that brings the varieties of planets to the universe by creation. Here it is said that to create, the Lord Brahma meditates on the Virat Rupa. There is a connection. In the Virat Rupa here, it says, by meditating on Virat Rupa, he regained his lost consciousness. The meditation also appeases the Lord. Lord Vishnu says, tapa, involve itself in meditation. We told Lord Brahma that. And now we are having a connection, or being given a connection, Lord Brahma to the Virat Rupa. So why Lord Brahma and the Virat Rupa? Well, these are all very, very good questions. And we will, by the Lord's mercy and help from the Parampara, through my Gurudev, try to break it down. So we go back a little bit into the end of the canto before this. It was Maharaj Pariksit who was definitely listening and asking questions from Shukadeva Goswami. that asked this question, O Brahmana, meaning Shukadeva Goswami, please describe in full detail how and where the mind has to be applied and how the conception can be fixed, so that the dirty things in a person's mind can be removed. This question started this whole point of now, all up to the point where now we know Lord Brahma meditated on the Virat Rupa. So here is Sukadeva Goswami's answer. This is in Canto 2, but the previous chapter, chapter 1. Text 22 is where Maharaj, it's recorded that Maharaj Pariksit asked this question, how the mind has to be applied. So Sukadeva Goswami said, one should control the sitting posture, regulate the breathing process by the yogi pranayam, and control the mind and intelligence, control the mind and senses, and with intelligence, apply the mind to the gross potencies of the Lord, called the Virat Rupa. So Sukadeva Goswami's answer is, sit in the lotus posture, have your mind very much centered, for lack of a better way to put it. Won't focus on other things that are distracting. Go through the pranayam, the breathing process, control the mind and senses. So this is the beginning of Ashtanga Yoga, basically, that Shukadeva Goswami is describing. Now, if we connect it to Lord Brahma was asked to go through tapasya. This is what he did. Now, the other part of it that connects to Lord Brahma is, remember, Lord Brahma is going to create part of the universe, the material world. The Virat Rupa is connected with the material world. Therefore, since he was going to do that work, he concentrated on what was to happen. The Virat Rupa, the gigantic form of the Lord, and that would prick his intelligence and his mind and help him to recreate. So that was what Lord Brahma was to do, and that's why it made sense for him to, while meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Virat Rupa. So you're thinking about the Lord, but also thinking about the planets, which he himself would be charged with as a service to recreate. So from the point of view of Lord Brahma and Lord Brahma's work and why he went through this meditation and the way Shukadeva Goswami answered Maharaj Pariksit, it's all consistent. We may not be creators, but Lord Brahma is. It's another way of putting it. He's going to create what? Planets. He also has to concentrate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you add those together, then meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a planetary system, that's meditating on the Virat Rupa. And so he meditated like that. Shukadeva Goswami finished that part of answering the question from text 24. This is still Canto 2, but chapter 1. This gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is the personal body of the Absolute Truth, wherein the universal resultant of past, present, and future and material time is all experienced. This gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is the personal body of the Absolute Truth. So then, Shukadeva Goswami is saying, in a sense, as a reminder, and also connecting to the Absolute Truth, he is saying that the phenomenal material world, there's nominal and phenomenal. Nominal is spiritual, phenomenal is material. So the phenomenal material world is the personal body of the Absolute Truth. So as Shukadeva Goswami is explaining, and things are being made a little clearer to Lord Brahma in terms of what he has to do to recreate, Shukadeva Goswami beautifully links the material world to the body of the absolute truth. And even talks about time, past, present, and future of material time. It's not like that in the spiritual world, but here it's like that. We experience that. So it's all very consistent for what Brahma had to do. And this is Srimad Bhagavatam, and every stone is not left, not unturned. He turns every situation is explained in detail. That's why Bhagavad Gita is the basic understanding, and that's very high level. It's still a basic understanding of Krishna, and then details come in all aspects in Srimad Bhagavatam. So for this text, again, it's explained that this is 221. So I'll read it again, the translation. Prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma, by meditating on the Virat Rupa, and now we know why. It was explained to Maharaj Pariksit by Shukadeva Goswami. But he was meditating on the Virat Rupa so he could think about Krishna, and at the same time, the planets that he was supposed to create after waking up would be made clear in his consciousness. And now he can create. It also says, not only did Lord Brahma, it means the text, not only did Lord Brahma regain his lost consciousness, but at the same time, because he was in this situation of Ashtanga Yoga, and he was in meditation, that appeased the Lord. The Lord was happy with that. So then he was able to rebuild the creation as before. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, Lord Brahma is like us. He has so much ability, but he's also like us in one way. And that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15. Savasya chaham hiri shanivishta matas viti jnanam apohanam cha. The Lord he's saying, I'm seated in the heart, Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita, I'm seated in the heart of everyone. And from me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. I'm seated in the heart of everyone, which means he's seated in the heart of Brahmaji also. And Brahmaji is given knowledge, Brahmaji is given remembrance, and Brahmaji can also forget. Based on Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Lord in the heart. The title for this particular chapter we're on, the Lord in the heart. So this situation where Lord Brahma forgot, but he also had to recreate. So the Lord helped him. And finally, he was able to remember. Another part of the purpose, Srila Prabhupada goes on to say, the incarnation of the passionate mode of material nature is Lord Brahma. Lord Vishnu is connected with the mode of goodness. Lord Brahma is connected with the mode of passion. And Lord Shiva is connected with the mode of ignorance. So Lord Brahma, in the passionate mode, in the mode of passion, is the creator. He creates things. Even we're aware of it here in our own life. Through the passion of people wanting to make money, they come up with all kinds of creation and get a patent for it and then begin to market it. That's our own mundane way of doing things. But Lord Brahma, in this case, was to recreate this material planet. So the Lord Krishna empowered him to generate this manifestation, this beautiful manifestation. So yes, he can, but sometimes he will also forget. just like us. Sometimes we forget. So Srila Prabhupada explains that this forgetfulness is in Brahma all the way down to even the lowest insignificant ant. So that's a revelation there, because we don't know how animals, their intelligence goes, how far it goes. We know we have greater intelligence than they do, but here Srila Prabhupada is saying forgetfulness is there in all living beings. So for him, Brahma, his forgetfulness was counteracted by meditation on the Virat Rupa of the Lord. So even though Virat Rupa is, in another place, is told to us, devotees concentrate on the Supreme Personality of God in the two-handed spiritual form, the Virat Rupa is material. In some places, it is said that it's imaginary. Still, Lord Brahma, he had to create the material world. So the Virat Rupa meditation on that was very important and advantageous for him. So other people who are materialistic can gain by meditating on the Virat Rupa of the Lord because they are into materialism. We're not talking about Brahma this time. We're talking about generally those who are connected with materialism so much and not Krishna conscious. But through that, because there's a form in the Virat Rupa as it's described, then those people will begin to connect a body through the planets to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the first step in looking at the personal aspect of the Lord. Oh, he has a body, he has bones, he has the neck and the skull, and the skull is Brahmaloka, and all of that's explained. So a person gets the idea of a gigantic form of the Lord, but it is a form though. And by that, then you connect, and the rest, if they are more inclined to know more about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they slowly, the eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, Krishna, can follow. And then more will be given, which means the person can now elevate the mind from, through the help of the intelligence and the Lord in the heart, elevate the mind from material thinking now to spiritual thinking, which is exactly what's happened to many of us as conditioned souls. We were in the different religions and we were thinking materially. At best, we pray for the Lord to give us material things. And in the end, we think that we're going to be going to the heavenly planet. That's all material thinking. But through that, and getting to know more about Krishna, then we've come to this level now that we're looking at things from a spiritual standpoint. And then we're told our aim is to love God, to know him and to love him. How? Well, we're given instructions, which is our sadhana bhakti. And we're also told that we are in an age where connecting the Supreme Personality of God, it has been made very simple. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when the person gets away from the Virat Rupa form, then Vyavasaya Buddhi. It's also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text 41. That Vyavas Buddhi follows at once. So what is Vyavas Buddhi? Well, in text 41, it's actually resolute faith and worship of Krishna. Vyavasatmika Buddhi Eka Kurunandana Bahushaka Hyanantascha Buddhayo Vyavasayinam. That is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 41. And the English translation is, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, that means Arjuna, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So those who are on this path, what path? Path of bhakti. They have one aim. So those whose intelligence are irresolute, they're all over the place. It's many branched. And Srila Prabhupada explains that a strong faith that through Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life. That's called Vyavasayatmaka intelligence, resolute intelligence. The belief that Krishna consciousness will give us the highest perfection of life. We have to have that strong faith in order to stay in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, Maya will win over our minds. We have to have great faith. And faith means trusting in something that is sublime. So when a person is engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness, that person does not need to react or act in the material world with so many other things that people take so seriously, but they all end with death. Family traditions, humanity, nationality, they all go. Sometimes there are different pralaya or situations with the weather that can, in fact, not just the weather, but even the movement of the earth and underneath the earth, talking about earthquakes and those things, that can cause situations where a part of the planet, which is land, can go in the water, disappear in the water. Even that happens. So what's permanent here? People talk about the lost continent of Atlantis and Moon. They were on this planet as land, and then they disappeared to the bottom of the ocean. Nothing is permanent here. But when one engages in the duty of Krishna consciousness, then we are in this world, but we don't connect so much to obligations in this world. We only do what's necessary. And our activities should all then, the rest of the time, be concentrated on Bhakti Yoga. So we don't need to endeavor for good results or bad results. We don't endeavor for bad results, but bad results come anyway. We all have experience with that. You're driving a car, you're sitting at the light, and you're sitting there because there's a red light. And next thing you know, some accident has happened around you, and somebody's car is out of control. And by the time they tried to brake, they couldn't do it. And the car spins out of control and then comes to a stop. But it came to a stop with your car. It hit your car. Are you the problem causing the problem? Of course not. You're not. But trouble comes like that. Sometimes trouble comes invited because we do the wrong thing, but sometimes troubles come uninvited too. And so Srila Prabhupada has explained that since troubles can come uninvited, good things, material things can also come on their own. And so we do the best that we can in our lives, but we shouldn't be attached so much to how our life is going to have to be in the future. We're talking about the material one, how it's going to be in the future, and try so hard to get there. We can do what is required of us. It may involve some tapasya, true enough, but we have to understand that in the end, Krishna will put us where we need to be based on our karma. And with that understanding that as a devotee, we need to spend more of our effort in Krishna consciousness. Everything here is temporary. It will be taken away. Even our bodies will be taken away. All our possessions will be taken away. What would be left that is advantageous for us is the spiritual credits that we have accrued by our services to the Lord. And that's why one has to have unflinching faith, which is called the vyavasatmika intelligence. That we have to have. And with that, we will be able to stay in Krishna consciousness until the very end when we leave the body. There are challenges that would come, but the Lord is very, very affectionate to his devotees. So even when the challenges come, they are lessons for us to learn. What we have to be extremely, extremely careful about is the quality of service. If we give good quality service, we will grow and more realizations will come to us. We will have a happier life. But all the time, Maya is also trying to expose us physically and especially mentally to things that may cause our own self-sabotage of our bhakti kripa. So we have to watch for that. And it comes very, very, very subtle. It's explained the Maya comes in like a needle. Very, very, very small point here. It tries us. And especially the mental part of it. Oh, that is so deceptive. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, this person. I mean, I heard one situation. I'll talk about it, but I won't mention names. Because it has to do with our society. The place is a Lachwa, though. That I can mention, but nothing more than that. There were some devotees who made some statements to me, and I knew immediately it was wrong to think that way because they made a statement about their god brother who was a sannyasi. The godbrother who was a sannyasi. And they said, oh, and I happened to be relating to him at that time. I was my service in Alachua. I was in Alachua for about 5 months, did the service there, and then returned to Girinagri. And at that time, some devotees told me in confidence that this particular Prabhu is not so advanced. And listen to how I said it. This is how they said it to me. Don't worry too much about him. He's not very advanced. Now, if I tell you now that this particular sannyasi is a spiritual master, and there are people who are really, really, really connecting with him, very importantly, and this was what was said about him. But this, again, see how Maya works. It's like he's told some of these people, he's not so important. And then they tell me. But my training, fortunately, by my spiritual master, Bhakti Maharaj, says you sannyasis are that particular ashram is the most spiritual because they dedicated their whole lives to serving. And if I hear something negative said about someone else, how should I take it? This is a person that I was working closely with. So definitely I ignored it, but I was surprised to even hear that. This is how Maya works. The persons that said that, they were convinced, and they thought that they were just cautioning me, but actually they were being offensive. I wonder what that person, right now I don't even remember who the person is, but I remember the statement very well. It's from Mataji that told me that. So little things like that, we have to get, oh, this doesn't matter. Oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, my service is here, but I want to enjoy myself here. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Someone else will cover it. If it's your service and you don't do it and you think someone else is covering it, you are an aparadi already. Save aparad. And it happened in Gitanagri also. There was one Mataji like that. Oh, I didn't come for my service. And we asked her and she said, nah, Krishna always does things. Somebody will cover it. It doesn't matter. What has happened is that the whole situation of the arrangement for who is to do what has been disrupted. So we have to be very, very careful, even while we're doing devotional service, even while we're involved in Krishna consciousness. Things like that can happen. These are all the subtle things that sometimes will keep us from going back to Godhead. We have to be a team player in the greatest sense of the word all of the time. Hmm? So sometimes we mention little things because all of these things, some of us have lived to see what's happened to other devotees who said things, who did things, and now the creeper is not much to even consider. The Bhakti creeper is so weak, or they've fallen down. Give you one more example, then we stop. Srila Prabhupada. He was telling his devotees, and Prabhupada disciples, in a class, the end of the class, he kind of turned it into like an istigosti, things that they need to do. He was talking to them about that. That's when usually those things come up, when you have a meeting of that nature. But this is a class, towards the end of the class that he mentioned. So book distribution is very important. And he began to describe how book distribution should be done. There were two disciples of his in the congregation with their God brothers, God sisters, that had been involved in business. And they were quite business savvy from a material standpoint. They raised their hands after Srila Prabhupada described how to go about distributing his book. And basically what they said to Srila Prabhupada was in contrast to what he had just told the disciples to do. In other words, they were saying that from a point of view of business, if they tried what Srila Prabhupada suggested, they probably won't be successful, therefore, and then they just came up with another way to do it. Srila Prabhupada listened quietly. When they finished, Srila Prabhupada repeated the method that he told the devotees to distribute books. He repeated it after they said this. They raised their hands again and objected to Srila Prabhupada's suggestion in selling books. Actually, when you say suggestion for a guru is an order. Actually, that's the proper consciousness. Even if it comes across as a suggestion, you should take it as an order. So when they said that, then Srila Prabhupada said to them, all right, so you distribute the books the way you see, according to the way you want to do. And that was the end of that, as far as the exchange. So devotees went out and distributed books based on Srila Prabhupada's instructions. And these two people distributed books based on their business understanding. What happened? They flubbed badly. They could not distribute much at all. And at the end of the day, people will come back based on how many books are left. It's obvious, you just do the subtraction and you know how many books are gone. The devotees did so poorly, those two that challenged the Prabhupada, and it caused them such embarrassment that they didn't come back to the temple. And everybody knew why. So these are subtle things. And, when you're new in Krishna consciousness, you don't experience much of that a lot. But when you've been in for a while, and Maya keeps telling you that now I'm advanced, watch out. You're not advanced. You're more in trouble, susceptible to the subtle type of distractions from Maya. So take that seriously because it happens everywhere, everywhere. And we've learned a lot of lessons from it. So Krishna consciousness is wonderful, but don't think that that path is going to be so easy. Maya is going to just wave you on. Nope. You pay your dues. But if you have strong faith, Vyabhasatmika Buddhi, intelligence, you'll be pinpointed in what needs to be done based on the instructions given by the representative of Krishna, the bona fide guru, then you'll be all right. But when you say that I want to do things my way, watch out. This is where the trouble starts. So, Lord Brahma went back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and appeased them. And this is how he was able to recreate. The Lord linked the Virat Rupa to his consciousness. Not that bhakti is not there, it is, but he is serving, his work is creation. And so to remember what to do, the Virat Rupa was essential for him because the planets are literally given to him in a picture form while he's in meditation. And so coming out of the meditation, then he knew, all right, there's this other planet, there's this that I have to create. And he did it. He did it. So it takes humility. That understanding should be there. That understanding should be there. No humility, no devotion. Hare Krishna. Chira Prabhupada ki jai. So thank you for listening up. Some of these things we have to be taken very, very, very seriously. Otherwise, then bhakti can get challenged. Anyone that wants to contribute by asking a question, sharing a realization, you can unmute yourself now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for this very nice class, especially the Lord and the heart, which is the Paramatma. And I was reminded of a point that that I read a quote by His Holiness Gopal Swami, that as devotees, practicing devotees, we always tend to forget because we are so caught up in thinking that I have perfected Krishna consciousness, I perfected devotional service, I'm okay, nothing's going to touch me, I'm going to be fine. Maharaj says that we have to always remind ourselves that a Paramatma within our body, the super soul, is the Chaita Guru. And the Chaita Guru is still giving instructions from the heart. And if we do not listen to the heart, to the Chaita Guru, then we are basically not listening to instructions. So I read that quote, I think somewhere last week, where he said that the super soul within the heart is the Chaita Guru acting in the form of a spiritual master, and we should listen to the heart and take instructions very seriously and not minimize the Paramatma. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it up. And because in some ways we've spoken about some things that are important. I remember as a devotee, my spiritual master at the time he was around, he also spoke so many things to warn us. And clearly, in a sense, been used to bring about things that serve as a warning to us while we're just talking about how to grow. We also have to be careful about the pitfalls. If you want to grow and the pitfalls are there, and you fall into any of them, you're not going to be able to grow. And when a person stays in Krishna consciousness for a while, the temptations come in a subtle way. This is what we're really saying. The temptations come in a subtle way. And the subtle ones are likely to be believed. And then we're in trouble. So we want everybody to be successful as we're trying ourselves to be successful. And so we're sharing these things so that we'll be more careful about how you do our service. Our service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is extremely important. And when you're being relied upon, you better be there. It doesn't matter what else you're doing. When you're relied upon, you better be there. Or basically it's taken as service offense. Seva aparad. And aparads don't send us back to the spiritual world. So, and that's where we need to go in order to get rid of our anxieties. And that's why these things, we're saying boldly, although we didn't mention any names, but there are glaring examples in different parts of the temples around the ISKCON that these things happen, which means the temple that we're in is also part of. Also liable. People are liable to be caught up in situations where they are subtly deceived without them even realizing it. Maya can sometimes take Krishna conscious activity, something else, to deceive us and have us get away from the responsibility that we are being relied upon to do. We're in trouble. It's also aparad. So, Hare Krishna. Any
Another
other?
point that I think you mentioned earlier in your lecture.
I think somebody else is going to speak. Maybe. So
Oh,
if you
I'm
can
sorry.
hold off.
Yeah, sure.
Please unmute yourself. I thought I heard another voice. Okay, well, you can speak now. While maybe it was just my own ears, I thought I heard another voice.
It's okay. If someone jumps in, I will, definitely stop. And another point that you're talking about, service and aparat and devotee relationship, I was being reminded of His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami's one of his community building principles that was actually coming from Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, actually, because Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj had 64 principles. He wrote 64 principles for community building. So these four are the powerful ones from the all 64 that His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami mentioned. He says, treat everyone the way you want to be treated. And I think that is the key point in today's time and age, not only in the devotee community, but even in the non-devotee world, that, and we can definitely speak, about the devotee community because we should be the examples, that if we don't like to be treated that way, then we shouldn't treat someone else that way. If we don't like to be, whatever, then why do it to someone else? If we cannot do it, then why make someone else do it? So I think that is a key point that I think every practicing devotee should really understand, that the mood behind such principles is going back to Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, first you love my devotees, then you come to me. Serve my devotees, then you come to me. So the treating everybody the way we want to be treated actually directly relates to Krishna's statement in Bhagavad Gita, and I'm paraphrasing the verse of the purport, where Krishna says, if you serve my devotees, that makes me more happy. Love my devotees more, that makes me more happy. Take care of my devotees more, that makes me more happy. So if we do not treat the devotees, if we treat the devotees and we don't like to be treated that way, then we have really kind of made Krishna sad. If I don't like this, and if I won't do this and I cannot do this, why did I make someone else do it? Why did I make that devotee do it? It's saying, Krishna, I really don't care about the devotee. Yeah, and that's not pleasing to the Lord. The goal of the life, and I was hearing to one lecture, I forgot who was giving this class a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, where is no, I was reading somewhere. Sorry, I was reading somewhere where it was said that our service should be, are we pleasing the Lord? And pleasing the Lord doesn't mean, am I doing the service correctly? Even treating the devotees, am I pleasing the Lord? Not taking them for granted, am I pleasing the Lord? If I won't do and make them to do blah blah whatever, am I pleasing the Lord? And I think that's the point that we have to ask ourselves: is this pleasing to my spiritual master and Krishna? Is it pleasing the Lord? That is devotional service, because I think sometimes we think devotional service means I just cook and clean and wash and boo, arati service and sweep and that's it. Yeah, that is there. But even how we take care and treat the devotees and not take them for granted and this and that is also pleasing the Lord. That is also devotional service. That's what Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said in his 64 principles of community building. We should treat everyone the way we want to be treated.
That's the subtle part. Yeah, that's the subtle part. It's the mental part of devotional service. Yeah. In fact, Bhakti Maharaj added one more to it. He said that connected with this, through Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, paraphrasing or getting a statement from the 64 principles from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said that the success of our spiritual life, we have to understand that the success of our spiritual life depends on how we treat other devotees. The success or failure of our spiritual life depends on how we relate to other devotees. So we have to be very, very attentive and reflect on what we're doing. If I was in that situation and it was done to me, would I be happy or would I be sad? If I would be sad, then don't do it. If I would be happy, then do it. So assess like that. In that way, we will be protected from the temptations that Maya will give us. Maya will always be there. But once we do the right thing, then her influence is very much limited, or sometimes non-existent at all. So Lord Brahma knew where to go in order to get the help that he needed to recreate. He went to Krishna. Krishna means Krishna's instructions. So we also have to follow like that. Thank you for adding to this. Any more? You can unmute
Hare
yourself.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Accept my obeisances, glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Satman, all glories to Prabhupada. Dandavat pranam to all the devotees. I was hearing Gaurang Prabhu couple of days back, and
Yeah.
he mentioned a point or a story, two stories he cited, where Bali Maharaj was asked for 3 steps of land by
Yes.
Vamandev,
Mm-hmm.
and then in when Sudama goes to Krishna's palace, he was
Mm-hmm.
given later on afterwards. He was given like a lot of palace.
Yes.
There are like two ways Krishna has handled the situation. Basically, at one point he has taken everything away from Bali Maharaj. In the other situation, he has given like a lot of wealth to Sudama.
Sudama. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he says like you know you will want to be like Sudama. You will want to be like him, so so that Krishna gives us that. But the thing is, when we go to Krishna and we might ask for something like this, Krishna will do something else, because he said, uh, if you go to Krishna with anything, uh, Krishna will purify us the way we need to be purified.
Yes.
So, like, and he mentioned the point that if we are in ISKCON, or ISKCON is all about service. If we are here to satisfy our ego or here for prestige, um, because these are also material things, like
Mm-hmm.
satisfying our ego, saying that, oh, I am better than the person who is outside ISKCON. He is just doing like or I am even better than a person who is outside ISKCON taking care of his family. I'm doing so, like Krishna consciousness. But uh, like if we are into Krishna consciousness to satisfy our ego, prestige, he said that we won't sustain for long, or otherwise we will be purified. There are two things will happen. Either we will be purified or we won't be able to sustain for long. Then we have seen a lot of examples in past, even during Prabhupada's time. Disciples were there, like who were here for different reasons, like
Mm-hmm.
not exactly following what Prabhupada used to say, uh, or they were not able to like get understand uh, the movement exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those things that he mentioned was very nice, and like also give me specifically like where I stand in the path of bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Thank you very much. That's very, very good sharing. Hopefully, the devotees will take from it. As a senior devotee who shared this information, and it's nice that Sarvanga Sundar Damadas brought it to us so that we can also benefit from it. Krishna consciousness is going. It's just a path where the longer we stay, the more humble we are, the more cooperative that we are, the more of a team player we are, the more revelation comes to us. You get to know the deeper and deeper aspects of it and become a better devotee that way and able to help others too. So when we're saying these things, it's not like we're better. No, It's just some things that have happened and experiences that have come, and then we've used it to share so that everybody can be forewarned about what could happen if we take Maya lightly. Hare Krishna. Any last comments or questions? If not, then I'd like to thank you very much for coming on. Please keep coming. This is the beginning of the week. Therefore, have a nice, wonderful Krishna conscious week. Vanchakalpatarubhishya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.